It was for freedom that Christ set us free. So be free and don't let slavery return. Those are the words of Apostle Paul. He's speaking to the people who follow Jesus, saying that the design that Jesus has for your life is for you to be free. But what does freedom look like? How does freedom begin? How do we actually not only get free ourselves, but stay free? And then how do we help other people get free? Those are important things we need to learn. And there are some lessons I've been learning out of the book of Exodus. Even the person of Moses, who himself had to get free and then become this deliverer, this freedom fighter for God's people. I'm learning so many things about him. For example, Moses, after a failure, after being raised in the palace and headed to the desert, he spent almost a whole life there, like 40 years in the wilderness, in the desert area, becoming a shepherd, looking after sheep, moving on with his life, maybe feeling like he was too insignificant to make a difference, maybe feeling like it was too late or it was too hard. And it's in the desert that God shows up, which I think is really interesting. I feel like sometimes we think God will show up if we go somewhere to meet him, or like God will show up if we do the right thing, or God will show up if we change our way and we get to the center place where God is. But actually, God goes out of his way to get into our way over and over and over again in Scripture. You might recognize this in the story Jesus told, even of the widow who loses a coin and looks everywhere, or of the shepherd who loses just one sheep and goes out of his way to find that one sheep. It's the character of God to find us. And Moses encounters God through this thing called the burning bush, God's presence right in the middle of his own desert experience. I don't know where you're at in your life and how far from freedom you feel, or maybe even how far from a freedom fighter you feel. But I can tell you this right now, that God knows exactly where you are, and he will find you. His presence will find you. One of the curious things about burning bushes, actually, I've discovered is that there are many burning bushes in deserts. They're actually not very unusual. The heat in the desert gets so hot that burning bushes, like bushes, combust all the time and they catch on fire. But this specific burning bush encounter, Moses notices there's something special about it. There's something unique about it. There's something, well, different, or what we might say is holy. And he goes over to have a look. Sometimes we think the burning bush will be more like lightning from heaven, but really it's something natural, but also special. Sometimes that's how God's getting your attention too. In your natural everyday work, there'll be something happening that if you're willing to take a look and look for the presence of God, you might just find God is present in your everyday life, calling to you for freedom.